Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J, live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. Thank y'all, everybody who has been listening to us as we build with our brothers, Brother Sankofa, as well as Minister Asar there of the Winkler Investment Group out of Baltimore, Maryland. And we appreciate them for joining our show here tonight. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J, live from the Den every single Monday night from 7 p.m. Eastern until we finish. So I want a special thank you to those folks across the nation that are listening to us on your TuneIn application, on your streamer application, and to those folks that are listening to the replays right now on YouTube and podcast formats, because you guys come and check us out every single week is the reason why we can continue bringing you socially conscious talk that's entertaining with a dash of humor. Brothers, you still with us? Brother Sankofa, you still with us? Minister Oswald, you still with us? You guys still with me? I think I may have lost you. Hopefully I didn't lose you. You still with me, brothers?
Yes, Brother Marcus?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. Okay. That's Brother Sankofa. Okay. Minister Osar, you still there?
I am here.
Okay, good deal. I thought I lost you, but I'm glad I didn't. So at this point of the show, every single week, I look around the news, and typically it makes me say, what the hell? And that is what I call this segment. I call this segment, What the Hell? And so I'm honored and happy to have you guys participating as we all ask the question, what the hell? It's kind of my current events segment that I'd like to kind of get you guys' input in, and so we're going to jump into that. A lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about, the stuff that we see in the news, and one of the things that I saw, and Brother Sankofa, I want you to jump in here first, and Minister Osar, I want you to jump in after him. A lot of, well, not a lot of us, if you've been living under a rock, you may not know, but we all know about what went on with Brother Sam Dubose, who was the driver that was killed by the University of Cincinnati police officer Ray Tensing, well, the former, because he has since been removed of his duties. But here's the thing, and here's the angle that I want to talk to you guys about. We saw the video, we saw the traffic stop that turned, deadly. And this officer was arrested. He was charged. He made his bail. It's due process here in this country. But the thing that really got me a little bit riled up, Brother Sankofa, was the fact that people from all over the country offered to help pay the $1 million bond. And of course, we've seen this before. We've seen this before with, the folks that funded George Zimmerman for murdering Trayvon Martin and the brother that was killed, I believe in Ferguson, Mike Brown. His killer had a lot of people that were funding his defense. And what the hell is the deal with that? So I want to talk about that. What's your thoughts when you heard this about this officer Ray Tensing having so much support across the nation?
Wow. Well, the first thing that I is condolences to family of brother, and definitely once one of our wars, one of our
you're breaking up on me, brother.
This happens to go down.
You're breaking up on me. Breaking up on me, brother.
So it's always, but I think the response that speaks volume to the power in terms of how we approach.
Brother Sankofa, you're breaking up pretty good, brother. Are you moving around?
Am I breaking up?
Yeah, you were breaking up pretty good a minute ago.
Okay.
How about now? Go for it.
All right, let me try to get another area. Okay, how do I sound now?
You sound fine right now. Go for it.
Okay. So what I was saying was one of the things not be overlooked is power. And, one of the things that we often do is we're reactionary to when things like this happen. As you see, much money and funds and backing has been going to the officers and the police department and different things like that. Now, looking at the situation, as far as the black community is concerned, who's there to be able to uphold this family and this brother here? And of course, we know at times you might have your Al Sharptons and you have your other figures who may come and do what they do. But nevertheless, we have to have conversations with our youth about this. And for these continuous killings and murders, whether it's Mike Brown, whether it's Trayvon Martin, whether it's Eric Gardner, whether it's Sandra Bland, whether it is whoever, looking at the trends, this stuff is not just by design. Neely Fuller speaks about racism, white supremacy, and one of my favorite quotes comes from a scholar, and the quote is, if you don't understand racism, white supremacy, then everything will pretty much confuse you. And so we're in a war, and we have to know that we're in a war so that we can operate and move as such. So, we're in a society where, let's just be honest, Brother Marcus, being black, well, that right there is a scar. We're in a society where we've been told we're 3/5 of a human. We're devalued. So what it is that we have to do is we have to first change our mind and see ourselves in a different light. And then what we have to do is we have to continue to try to build institutions and do different things so that we can try to be proactive and protect our youth and protect our families from this type of mistreatment. And the best way that we could show power and the best way they strength by pulling, because we show up of this is how to treat us based on how we treat.
Minister Osar, pick up there. What do you think?
You know what? I can't hear anything. I don't think y'all can. I can't even talk to y'all because I keep hearing myself talk back, and I can't hear Brother Sankofa at all. I hardly can. There's a lot of reverb, and then when I talk to you, when you talk, I can hear you slightly. I'm wondering if I should just, because it's kind of making it very difficult for me to get a flow, because I can't even hear. I keep hearing myself back. So I'm wondering if I should just hang up and just listen in, and because Sankofa sound like he got it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, because this is really like.
Okay, I got you.
Right now.
I got you, Brother Sankofa. Hold the line, Minister Osar. One last time, because I understand what you're saying about because there is some technical stuff going on, and I appreciate your patience and hanging in there with us. I'm going to hang out with Brother Sankofa for a little longer, but I want you to tell us one more time who you are and what the Winkler Investment Group is. Hopefully you got. If you can hear me on that, if you can give me kind of your ending salutation there for me.
Okay, no problem. I'll do that.
Go for it.
You want me to tell you now?
Yes, sir. You said you were going to go ahead because you were having some technical difficulties. So I'm going to go ahead and continue with Brother Sankofa, but I want you to tell us one more time who you are, what the Winkler Investment Group is, so that the listeners can hear it directly from you.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, my name is Dennis Asar Winkler. I'm the minister of the Temple of New African Thought. And basically, I'm known as a psycho-social spiritual entrepreneur. And what we do here at Winkler is teach people how to invest in credit quality loans. But more than that, we develop specifically black people. We teach us to get out of by it. Basically, we from a psychological, we understand that their trauma afflicted upon us as African or black people. We also deal with social because we have to socialize. Like Dr. Aint talks about is we have to socialize and a culture to us. Then, last but not least, black people, we have to deal with spirit. Every the spirit is that driving force that will move is will move by, will move so the spirit, that engine. So with that, thank you, brother, to us on the show. I'm going to get off the line now and just listen in. And great show. I really enjoyed it. Peace and blessings. So like I say, peace and power.
Absolutely, my brother. Thank you personally from me, Marcus J., as well as my crew here at Legacy Internet Radio, and thank you on behalf of all of our listeners, brother. I hope to build with you at some point again in the future. Peace and blessings to you, brother. Brother Sankofa, you still with us? Brother Sankofa, you still with us? Brother Sankofa, you still with me?
Brother Marcus,
yes.
Can't seem to hear you too clear now.
Can you hear me at all?
Yeah, that seems to be a bit better.
Okay, good. All right, so you and I are going to continue for a little while, if that's okay with you, my brother.
Sure thing, my brother, sure thing.
All right, ain't no half step on Marcus J. live from the den. Legacy Internet Radio. I'm speaking with Brother Marcus Sankofa Nix. He's the Chief Administrator of the Winkler Investment Group out of Baltimore. We just had on Minister Dennis Osar Winkler, who is the founder of the Winkler Investment Group. We talked a lot about it earlier on. We'll give you another blurb when we end here with Brother Sankofa. But for now, we are in, for our longtime listeners, we're in our What the Hell segment, where we're asking the question, what the hell is going on in our media and in our world. We just talked a little bit about Ray Tenzing, which was the police officer who was charged in the murder of Sam Dubose in Cincinnati, and the brothers kind of gave their opinion on it. I have not. So let me just kind of say this. You know, we talk a lot about body cams. You know, you have a lot of people who are for it, and you have a lot of people who are against it. And I think when you look at the race relations with people in our communities versus, and the fact that I even say versus is a problem, versus the police departments, I think it's very adversarial. I think a lot of it has to do with fear of the black man. Why is there fear of the black man? Hey, I'm working on trying to figure that out. But the only way that I can intellectually rationalize why these incidences continue to happen is there must be some sort of fear. When you can watch, you know, videos, and you know, YouTube is full of them. You know, videos, you know, of white men who come across police officers, and white women for that matter, that don't have the same kind of ending as some of our brothers do. You know, there's got to be some sort of fear going on where they walk up to the car immediately, guns drawn, especially when you looked at the video involving Sam Dubose, Brother Sankofa. I want you to comment on this as far as the body cam portion of it. When you saw him walk up, you know, and the brother puts the car in drive, and the officer's immediate response, his immediate response was to pull out his gun and pull the trigger. You know, you can debate whether you think, you know, Brother Sam Dubose did the right thing by trying to drive away. I don't really think that that's something that you really should get too much into, because I don't think him trying to drive away from a traffic stop is an offense that is punishable by death. Maybe the wrong thing to do, but it's not punishable by death. What's your thoughts on these body cams? What's your thoughts on the differences between how some in other communities are treated versus how we're treated? Let's just kind of build on that for a minute.
Sure. Well, I think this case here is a prime example of when you look at the relations, the race relations, especially with a police cop and with a black male. You know, the dynamic is as such where, just like we've seen in endless other stories, like we mentioned before, Eric Gardner, Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin, police officers, and there's even times there's even police officers, but police officers in this case can be able to kill, murder, you know, one of our own, and then they're rewarded as such with the financial backing, and so they say, we'll see a case like these other cases that I just mentioned, and the thought process will be, well, if they were able to do what they're doing and get away with it, well, I can do the same thing. There's no sense of consequence and no sense of repercussion. And then, you have, young males, young females who are looking at the TV and looking at the media and seeing this happen. And then imagine what that does to your psyche, whenever, you constantly see only one group of people, that continuously, constantly, these unjust, and murderous acts are being done. Not to mention the trauma that happens with the family, because, this brother, in this case, Samuel, he had a mother. He had a family.
Right.
How does this affect them? And these other cases with these other, brothers and sisters, who have lost, we have lost due to the injustice and the violence, they've had families as well too. So a lot of times we speak about the death, which is definitely a tragedy, but also we must take in consideration how the trauma goes on to the family and the residual effects. And, much of what plagues us as a people is the post-traumatic stress syndrome. These things that we harbor and that we take with us, psychologically, emotionally, and so, it's a privilege system. Racism is about privilege. And so when you're able to do something to a certain group of people and then you're supported and you're backed by that, then that sends a message. Now, one of the things that we could look at, and, we spoke already on the show about economic empowerment, money talks. I mean, we're in a society where you can wield your power through economics. So, if I even spoke about perhaps the Sandra Bland situation, can I speak about that briefly for the Marcus?
Absolutely, because I'm glad you're leading to that, because that was the next thing that I had written down in my notes. So we can talk about this holistically, because there was some video, wasn't body cam, but there was some video of that as well. So I certainly think that the Sandra Bland situation is very, very much relevant to our discussion on Sam Dubois. So absolutely, go ahead.
Sure. So, when you look at the Sandra Bland situation, once again, another one of our queens, one of our sisters that, we've lost. And, she pledged Sigma Gamma Rho, for those who didn't know, Prairie View University. And, and so, some said, well, why couldn't, her sorority sisters, come bail her out and get her, and one of the things that I think about is when you have your money tied together as a collective, when we can be able to build something and put our resources and our finances together, then we can build a power base, and that way we can have something so that we can be able to support our people under these specific times. We could be able to support our families under these specific times. One of the things that Minister Alsar speaks about, and one of the things that we are all about, is that generational wealth piece. And, we have to be able to leave something for our children. And under these times, these trying times, where our people are getting murdered and our people are getting killed and our people are getting beat down and brutalized, then, we have to be able to have an economic reserve there in place to be able to help our people. So the Sandra Bland case was a case where, there perhaps things might have been able to be different if we may have had some resources in place to be able to help the situation. But nevertheless, we definitely can. We're in a war, what do you say? It's definitely, we definitely have to be able to come together more than ever.
Let me ask you this, Brother Sankofa. What do you say to our white brothers and sisters who, to be frank, to be completely blunt, they get in their feelings whenever they hear black people or any people who ain't white talk about empowering their own, talk about, doing things for their own. You got a whole bunch of them that get real caught up in their feelings when we are in Black History Month in February. You know what I mean? And I get frustrated personally when particularly black people say ignorant things like they gave us the shortest month, and they don't know about Carter G. Woodson and how it started off as a week, and how the students at Kent State University are the ones that petitioned it for February. But for the month of February, it was actually a week that was chosen because it was Abraham Lincoln's and Frederick Douglass's birthdays. That's where it came from. So, I know I kind of went in a big circle to make the point that how do you, in your mind, rationalize when white folk get in their feelings with regards to black people and other so-called quote-unquote minorities, speaking of empowerment? Because I can tell you from personal experience, just me, I get inbox, I get, people that say nasty things in social media to me. I've been called the N-word based on my work here at Legacy and Net Radio. I've been called a race baiter. I mean, so I must be doing something right if people in their feelings with me. But I just want to know what your thoughts are with regards to that. And I know that's a little bit divergent from the Sam DuBose and Sandra Bland thing, but not quite so much, So what's your thoughts?
Sure. Well, Malcolm X said, I don't have to hate anybody to love myself. So, it's all about empowering us as Africans, as a collective. It's, everything that we do has to uplift us, has to uplift us. So for those who say, well, we get the shortest month of the year, February, and, and so on and so forth, we have to continue to create, avenues to be able to continue to uplift ourselves. So I commend you, Brother Marcus, for having a media platform to get, a positive message out to the masses, especially our people, black people, so they can be empowered. We have to be able to build these schools. We have to be able to, we control when we want to appreciate and when we want to celebrate ourselves. And if somebody has an issue with that or a problem with that, well, that's just their issue and their problem, because, to love yourself, to feel good about yourself, hey, that's what it's supposed to be. So I would just simply say that, Marcus J. We have to, we have to continue to build together. We have to continue to strengthen our relationships. We have to just try to be better on every different level each day, financially, socially, spiritually, and most of all, culturally.
Right.
And that's very, very important. And, oftentimes, it's easy to sway and, do what the masses may say. And I'll give you a prime example of what I'm talking about. When you speak about this whole American dream, get a good job and, get the 2-car garage, get the house on the hill, and, move out to the suburbs and all of that. For those who have worked hard to achieve those things, okay, that's cool. I'm not hating. However, one of the things that we stress, with the Winkler Investor Group, we stress at the Temple of New African Thought, we stress with the Conscious Black Business Network, all of these different things, we stress that we have to be amongst our people. Minister Assar, mentioned the importance of healthy socialization. We have to be comfortable with our people. We have to trust our people. And that right there will enable us to be able to really build things, because when you like the person that you're working with, you're able to work harder. What you do is more enjoyable. You get more of a sense of fulfillment. So, instead of, getting the status and the prestige and the being a millionaire or a billionaire, well, if all of us, if we could concentrate our resources, that's better, because you can have all the money in the world, but if your mindset is individualistic and if your mindset is anti-African, then that's not going to move us forward. Now, if you want to be able to, get certain things, get certain statuses, get certain prestige, and bring it back to your community and bring it back to your people. That's one thing. But oftentimes, we have a sellout mentality where, we try to break away from our people because it's easier to just not be held accountable and to just want to do our own thing.
Now you touching on something.
Live the American dream.
You touching on something that's very personal to me, because I've always said that the way that we get out of this malaise that we're in is economic empowerment. Coming together, building together. If you look at a lot of the other communities, a lot of the other, again, I say with air quotes, minority communities in our country, they have progressed to the positions that they're in because they work together. They come together. If you watch, the model that is laid out by some of our Asian brothers and sisters, they have a business and the whole family works in the business. If you watch a lot of the, Latino brothers and sisters, they are similar. They go to work together and they go home to play together. Whereas oftentimes, you might have, a recipe to a nice sauce that your family likes to eat, but you ain't going to give it to your brother or your sister because you don't want them eating the nice sauce you got. You know what I mean? Right. So, we get so caught up in this, I got to get mine and I can't get, I can't allow you to get yours mentality, that we feed into a lot of the negative stereotypes, and we, basically are our own executioner when it comes to a lot of these things. Now we have a lot of help, the system is set up in a way that it is not designed for us to progress. However, there's enough of us that are smart. There's enough of us that are empowered. There's enough of us who have the right ideas, like W.E.B. Du Bois talked about, the talented 10th. There's a lot of us that are part of the talented 10th that are still around, but if the people who we want to work with ain't listening to us, then I don't know what it is that we're supposed to do. I go through bouts of frustration, Brother Sanko. I got to be honest with you. And a lot of us, brothers that are supposed to be so strong are never going to admit that. They're never going to admit that they have those bouts of weakness, But I learned from studying, my three idols, which were Nestor Robert Marley, El Hajj Malik al-Shabazz and Martin Luther King Jr. I've studied them, and they all were very open about their fears and the things that, frustrated them. And so I feel no malice in my heart towards myself and no upset towards myself, to be completely frank and say that I'm real scared, man, for real. Because when I have conversations like this and I can speak to you as a brother, you get it because you get it, but I've had brothers say to me, why you call me brother? I ain't your brother. I don't know you. Really? Really? So like I said, I go through my bouts of it. And then, when I fight so much for our people, and sometimes it comes upon deaf ears, and then I see things like Sandra Bland and Sam DuBose, and I see these rallies that have, more non-black people than black people. It's just like, come on, man. They out there fighting for you, and where you at? It's just,
right.
That was my soapbox moment. I got a little bit frustrated. Hopefully it didn't take us too far off our track, but I felt like I needed to share that and kind of get that off my chest. And that's one of the reasons why I do radio, brother, because it's very therapeutic. It's very, very therapeutic. Going back to what we brought up with regards to the cameras and the body cams, I want to ask you a very, very specific question with regards to that. There's a lot of people in our country, most of them pro-police, that have issues with the cameras. They had issues with the cameras in the dash cams, and they have even bigger issue with the body cams. We know what the cameras have done for the cases of Sandra Bland and Sam DuBose. Not that they're over, but we at least know exactly what happened. But we also know exactly what happened with Eric Garner and how that didn't have a positive, outcome. What's your thoughts on that whole thing?
And you're speaking in regard to
specifically with the cameras. Yes, that question is specifically about your opinion of the cameras and how they play out in certain kind of situations with regards to reporting and knowing exactly what happened?
Well, I would say, a camera in and of itself is not a bad thing. Many things in and of themselves are not bad things, but it's all about how it's used. And I think oftentimes things are created and designed for one thing, but the usage of it, it can be manipulative, it can be exploitative, and it can have detrimental effects. And I think when it comes to these cameras, we've seen enough of our people victimized. And we have to always question everything. What are these cameras in place for? What is the purpose of them? Are they going to serve us any justice or not? And the thing that once again is important is our voice. So, we're able to have a stronger voice whenever we are together, whenever we are united. We're able to have a stronger voice whenever we come with a strength of power. And so oftentimes, what we do is we focus a lot of times on perhaps what may be done to us. And that's important to look at, because we have to definitely stay in tune with what's going on. We have to definitely stay in tune with what's going on, especially as it pertains to our people. But also it's important to continue to create our own, and when I say our own, I'm talking businesses or institutions or alternative methods of being able to do certain things. So that way we want to fall victim. In terms of the cameras in this specific incident, I would say that, it's, once again, they I don't think that's really served us too well. But, I think that, when it comes to the cameras, we just have to just continue to have a critical eye, not just with the cameras, but in general, could have a critical eye and really look and evaluate and assess and analyze everything now. We have to look with a critical eye at everything and really examine it because we're in a state of war.
Right, and I can dig it. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. live from the Den of Legacy Internet Radio. You can listen to our show every single Monday night, 7 p.m. until we finish, usually somewhere in the late part of the 9 p.m. hour Eastern Standard Time, listening to us tonight on TuneIn. Thank you to those folks that are listening to the podcast on YouTube, and also special thank you to those folks that have checked into our website, www.legacyinternetradio. I want to kind of change gears. I got two other things that I want to get your opinion on, Brother Sankofa, before we adjourn for the evening. One of them is about Donald Trump. Now, my crew is giving me all kinds of grief because I seem to want to talk about Donald Trump far more than anybody else does. But there's a method to my madness, and that method is the fact that he has found a way to galvanize a certain kind of thought process in some of our American brothers and sisters. And some of the things that he has said has garnered him a whole lot of support, which is evidenced by the fact that he is leading the polls in the Republican side of the primary leading to the election in the fall of 2016. So I think that we would be doing ourselves a disservice if we took the well, he says crazy things, I ain't going to listen to him tack with Donald Trump, because if we do that, we're going to be wholly unprepared for what could potentially happen, and that is a Donald Trump presidency. No one thought the black dude from Chicago was going to make it into the presidency, and lo and behold, he's in the ending stages of his second term. So you got to pay attention to these things. That's my thought on that. But speaking of the black dude from Chicago, Donald Trump said that no black presidents for a while because of President Obama. I'm getting this from, if my co-host was here with me, she would say, The Huffington Post, one of my favorite websites here. And basically, and I won't read the whole article, Brother Sankofa, but it says in part about Donald Trump responding to a question on a show about a tweet that he sent last year saying that America would not see another black president for generations because of how poorly he thought President Obama has done. And here is his quote. He has done nothing for African Americans. I never use that term. I always say black folk, but he has done nothing for African Americans. You look at what he's done, what's gone on with their income levels. You look at what's going on with their youth. I thought that he would be a great cheerleader for this country. I thought he'd do a fabulous job for the African American citizens of this country. He has done nothing. They have problems now in terms of unemployment numbers. Look at their unemployment numbers, and you have here you have a black president who's done very poorly for the African Americans in this country. I think that I will win the African American vote. I think I will win the Hispanic vote. There's more to the article. I think I properly set it up, Brother Sankofa. I don't know if you've seen this. If you have, great. If not, that's the setup. Donald Trump says that. You say what?
Well, I have heard about it, Brother Marcus. You know, when I hear that, it makes me laugh just because, you know, with Donald Trump, you know, having, with him saying what he says about, you know, Obama, you know, his presidency and whatnot, it makes me say, well, what has he done? And I'm speaking about Trump. You know, what has Trump done for Africans? What has he done for black people? You know, he's had a history of, you know, making various racial remarks. He's had a history of, you know, saying a lot of negative things in regard to black people. So I think first and foremost, looking at Trump, I think he stands as a symbol of white supremacy. And I think that him standing as a symbol of that, I think oftentimes people get caught up in the smoke screen and get caught up in, you know, the Democrat and the Republican and all of that. And, you know, it's kind of like, you know, both sides, the Democrats and Republicans, you know, they're playing for the same team, so to speak. And looking at Trump having comment to say about Obama, well, you know, one of the things that Dr. Amos Wilson speaks about in his book Blueprint for Black Power, he speaks about, you know, what the priorities should be, especially for Africans in America, for our community. And one of the things that he mentions is when we are able to, you know, pool our resources together, and, you know, then we can be able to wield more power and influence to be able to move forward to get things done. So, you know, for example, with Trump recently making some comments, you know, about Hispanics and different things like that I know you heard about, but, you know, about Brother Marcus.
Absolutely.
You know, we see the response to that. You know, what happened was the Hispanics, you know, they you know, pulled the plug on Trump and took some opportunities away from him. You know, shows and you know, different types of things, appearances and whatnot, which showed strength. They had something to use as leverage to take away. And, you know, now Trump, you know, of course has money, but however, that sent the message. You know, that sent the message of unity and togetherness. And so, you know, we could take a page out of that book. You know, and be able to operate with a sense of strength. So what it is that we can do is we can also build, you know, as I've been saying, that's been one of the main things that I've been speaking about as we've been talking, build institutions and build businesses and build platforms so we can be able to have leverage to be able to pull the plug on certain things and to be able to use that as power. Now, you know, you mentioned, you know, Malcolm, you know, you mentioned Martin, and you mentioned, I think was it Marley? You also mentioned
Bob
Brother
Marley,
Marcus.
yeah. That's kind of my
Yeah,
my triumvirate of spiritual advisory. That's my spiritual advisory board, for lack of a better term. Yeah.
sure, sure. And it was with those three that you mentioned, Malcolm. Not to take anything away from the other two, because they had good things as well too. But one of the things I think about with Brother Malcolm X, is that was a do for self philosophy. And that do for self philosophy is very important, because with that, it denotes a culture of being able to create, continuing to, supporting our people. And that goes a long way. So before it's an Obama or a Trump or any politician or anyone for that matter, we have to be able to control our households. We have to control our local communities and start from the micro to the macro, because, as they say, all politics is local. So for an Obama, for example, or a Trump or whoever sits in the presidency, for them to be in the White House and to be able to govern the affairs of what we do, well, yeah, there are certain things that can be done, but, we must keep in mind that they're still a face, and they represent a larger, the presidency, they're a face and they represent a larger unseen hand doing a lot of things. But the best way that we could compete as winners instead of losers is to be able to build a base, a power base, and especially an economic base. And that right there, it can be a start to what it is that we strive to accomplish.
I can dig it. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. The last thing that I want to get your opinion on, I almost feel a little bit silly even bringing this up to you, but I'm going to. Cecil the Lion. Here's why I'm bringing it up. Here's why I'm bringing it up. There have been petitions. There have been outrage. They have asked for an American citizen. When I say they, I mean American citizens have asked for another American citizen to be extradited to the country in Africa. And I'm sorry, the country is escaped. I believe it's Zimbabwe, but I could be wrong. But whatever country it is on the continent of Africa where Cecil the Lion was killed by this hunter, this Dennis from Minnesota. People are outraged by this. To the point where I saw that in New York City, which is right outside of my hometown in Jersey City, New Jersey, on the Empire State Building, they had a photograph. It was like a video photograph of Cecil the Lion in support. It was almost like a flying the flag half-staff type of deal. People going crazy about this damn lion, dude. And I'm just really wondering if anybody cared about Tamir Rice getting killed by the police, if anybody cares about Eric Garner's killer not being charged in New York City. Sam DuBose's killer has now been charged with murder. However, you've got citizens that are spending money to support him. We know about George Zimmerman, who's been arrested at least 5 times since he was acquitted of the murder of Trayvon Martin. I mean, and that's just to name a few. And so to see this outrage over Cecil the Lion, to me, is outrageous. It's offensive. And it shows me that the masses in our country care very little about the injustices that goes on in this bloody civil war that we are fighting in our country on domestic soil to this day. They are more concerned about a lion in another country. What's your thoughts, brother?
Well, I think that you said it, Brother Marcus. I think this shows where people are at. It shows their psyche, and we're able to see that full-fledged in the manner of response that they're showing with being outraged so much with this lion. And then, when I heard about it, I really wasn't super surprised or caught off guard, because whether it's, a deer's head that is hunted and killed and hung up on the wall, or whether it's, many other animals, I think, we're in a violent culture, period. We're in a violent culture. But But one of the things is that to make such an outrage of this lion and this situation, and then to take what has been going on, with us here, these killings, these murders, this unjust treatment amongst black people was not anything that has just happened. However, what we've seen oftentimes is different things will come to distract and to deter and get people's attention off of the focus and off of what really goes on. And the thing is, I brought up a point earlier in the show. It's really important to really examine and investigate, everything that we're bombarded with. Even, nowadays, with some of the killings and stuff, you have the Black Lives Matter and whatnot. That right there is being funded, by the LGBTQ. And so, it's just important to make sure that with what's going on, with who's funding these police, all of these social movements and these different hashtags and whatnot, it's just important to make sure that who's backing this and who has our best interests. I even saw Brother Marcus on one of the pages, social media. Somebody had all lions matter or something like that, and I think that it goes to show. I mean, the lion wasn't doing anything. The lion was minding his own business. However, the fact that it takes precedent over a number of killings, a number of murders, that I think that speaks a lot to the climate in the day and age in which we live. And it's quite sad. It's quite sad, Brother Marcus. So we got to keep on chugging and give our maximum effort. Ain't no half stepping.
Every time, and this is a soapbox that I have no problem standing firmly on the top of, because every time I hear all lives matter or anything other than Black Lives Matter kind of said in the Black Lives Matter style, I'm outraged by that. And I'm going to tell you why. Nobody walks around at a cancer walk screaming, lupus matters. You know what I mean? It's obvious that all lives matter. We know that all lives matter. It's obvious. But I don't see any other people in this country as a race or as a culture or as a group that has to deal with the same kind of things that we deal with in this country. And I think any fair-minded person, whether they be a liberal, conservative, black, white, whatever, I think if you are really, really being honest with yourself, then you would see that there are some very clear injustices that go on against people of color in this country, as well as people who do not have the financial wherewithal to do anything about their persecution. Meaning, yeah, it's bad that black folk get treated unfairly, but you know what? If you poor and white, you get to be good old black again. You know what I'm saying? And so it's crazy to me when I hear all lives matter, because it minimizes the whole point of those folks who march and rally in the name of Black Lives Matter. Obviously, all lives matter. But you know what? I don't see white folk getting pulled out of their cars and shot in the head and, things of that sort. If it happens on a individual isolated scale, it's not the same, because I've had my white brothers and sisters give me these obscure cases that may have happened from time to time. But per capita, absolutely not. So all lives matter. Don't come to me with all lives matter, because it drives me crazy every time I hear it, because it is offensive. It minimizes the plight of those folks that have been affected by police brutality. It minimizes the plight of those folks that have been affected by discrimination, maybe at work, or discrimination maybe trying to buy a house, or anything like that. So don't come to me. If you're a listener, maybe this is the reason why I'm getting inboxes, Brother Sankofa, because I keep talking like this, but it is what it is. I'll take the inboxes. If I can reach one person that can hear how you and I are speaking tonight, then it'll absolutely be worth it. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Live from the Den of Legacy Internet Radio. In closing, Brother Sankofa, what I want you to do, just as I did with Minister Dennis Osar Winkler, who is the founder of Winkler Investment Group, and he was kind of breaking up towards the end, which is the reason why he dropped the line. But I want you to give me one more time just kind of your spill on the Winkler Investment Group, who you are, what you do, and then tell me about the 2 events that you got coming up.
Sure thing. Well, I'll just reiterate what Minister Asar so eloquently articulated earlier in the show. The Winkler Investor Group, which was founded by Minister Asar Dennis Winkler, and I'm proud to serve as a part of the team along with Brother Kevin, Patrick, and Brother Montu Bra, who also are 2 brothers who weren't on the show, but they're part of our team as well too, along with many others. But we're all about empowering our community economically, especially by honing the skills and developing the skill sets of real estate investing, by primarily wholesaling. And so, you can be able to be successful, investing in real estate, whether you have a job or not, regardless of what your credit situation is like, with cash, without loans. We have a system, that works. And, when we say system, we mean save yourself time, energy, and money. So we have a system that works. And, if you follow that system, then, we definitely, you'll definitely be empowered. And one of the things that we're about empowering our people, Black people, okay, those who look like you and me, Brother Marcus. So, this is about generational wealth. This is about building our community. This is about investing in our community. This is about, really empowering our community to higher heights and higher levels. So we have a workshop coming up. We have 2 workshops coming up. The first workshop coming up is going to be this upcoming Saturday, August 8th, which is going to be at Everyone's Place Bookstore located in West Baltimore. The address is 1356 West North Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland, 21217. The time will be from 11 to 3 p.m. It's a free event. Please make sure that you register. You can go to our website. That's WinklerInvestorGroup.com. And you could also go to our Facebook page, which is Facebook.com/Winkler Investor Group. And you can be able to register there. Seating is, running out. So please make sure you do so as soon as possible. And then also, Brother Marcus, our second event coming up is going to be on Saturday, August 15th. So it's going to be the following Saturday from the previous workshop that I just told you about. That's going to be a first-time home buyers workshop, and it's going to be located at 7131 Liberty Road, Suite 200, located in Gwen Oak, Maryland, 21207. So on that day, from 10 to 2 p.m., you'll be able to get more information about credit repair, the settlement process. You'll be able to get a free credit report, home inspection, facts and tidbits, counseling services, and many, many other things. So if you want some more information about that, you can contact the number 443-333-2970 or 410-406-7478. So those are upcoming events, and if I can also add, Brother Marcus, our Conscious Black Business Network. Make sure you hop on Facebook, and join our page, join our group, Conscious Black Business Network, and also each and every Thursday from 11 to 9, tune in, okay? And we talk about Black economic empowerment, social and current events that affect us economically, socially, psychologically, emotionally, culturally, but especially economically. And now last thing I'll say is if you want to be able to tune in to get the previous shows or to get the live show, on Thursday, then you could be able to go to blogtalkradio.com /Conscious Black Business Network.
Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Thank you so much, Brother Marcus Sankova Nix, who is the Chief Administrator of the Winkler Investment Group. First of all, let me just say this. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for bringing so much wisdom, and thank you for being a part of the show tonight. As I mentioned to you when we talked earlier this week, it's a connection, and I think that we both would be wise to foster and facilitate, long term. So if you've got things that you want to get out where you feel that you can benefit from having a voice, you have that voice here with us at Legacy Internet Radio on Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. And so with that, I want to say thank you for joining us. I want to say good luck with what you guys are doing. Good luck with the events that you have coming up. If you could, once again, give my best to our brother, Minister Dennis Osar Winkler, who is, of course, the founder of the Winkler Investment Group and your partner. And I just want to say thank you, man. I can't say enough about how happy I am to have had you on the show tonight.
Well, Brother Marcus, I definitely appreciate you giving us an opportunity to utilize the platform. I know Minister Osar mimics our sentiments. If I can just insert a little small correction, that's the Winkler Investor Group.
Okay.
The Winkler Investor Group.
Okay.
So that's WINKLERINVESTORGROUP. And the show that I spoke about a little bit earlier is from 9 to 11.
Okay.
But nevertheless, appreciate it, Brother Marcus, and we definitely look forward to continuing to build with you, my brother.
I appreciate it, brother. Thank you again. You have a good night, man. Winkler Investor Group. And my apologies for saying it wrong the entire night. My apologies for that. And please accept my humblest of apologies there.
It's all good, my brother. It's all good. We'll be in touch soon.
You got it, brother. Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. Live from the den of Legacy Internet Radio. So happy and so glad to have an opportunity to build with the brothers of the Winkler Investor Group. And so I appreciate an opportunity to speak with their founder, Minister Dennis Osar Winkler, as well as Brother Marcus Sankova-Nix, who we just spent the last 30 or 40 minutes or so with, who is the chief administrator of the Winkler Investor Group. Check out their website, winklerinvestorgroup.com, for more information on how to be a part of that network and that group. They're based out of Baltimore, Maryland, and I'm sure even if you're not in the area, they've got ways that you could be a part of their movement as well as being a part of our movement here at Legacy Internet Radio. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, the crew is in the house. You're going to hear from Big Bro Joe. You're going to hear from the first lady voice you've ever heard on Legacy Internet Radio, comedian Lissa P, and the co-host. They're going to join us on the other side. Marcus J. Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stay with us, y'all. We ain't going nowhere.